Hello, my name is Laura Castillo. The date is Sunday, January 28th, 2018, and this is week 3 of microbiology. And on this week, we discussed bacterial morphology and staining techniques. And so, for this week's video, I actually just took out some of the equipment that we used. So I just wanted to go over the labs. And so there were two parts to this lab. The first part of the lab had to do with direct and negative staining. And with this lab, we took a sterile swab and we had to rub it against our teeth and our gums and then smear it over a slide and then stain each of them with two different stains. One is actually a crystal violet stain, which I have here, which is this one, the crystal violet stain, which is a direct stain. And then the other one was with a Congo red stain, which is this one here. We didn't use too much of it, and I wasn't sure if we had to keep this or not, so I kept it, and then I just topped it with a piece of tape so that none of it will get out, but this is the Congo red stain. The difference between the two is that the direct stain, which is this one, the crystal violet, it's like its name, it stains in a violet or dark blue type of shade. And what this one does is it grabs onto any cells or little structures or microorganisms that are on the slide. And then after you rinse them, when you view your slide, you can pretty much see every single little thing. So that's the crystal violet. With the Congo red, it's kind of a different technique. After you smear it, you put the Congo red and then you take another slide and you smear it across or on top of your cheek swab smear. And instead of adhering to the actual cells and structures, it actually goes around it. That's why they call this actually a negative stain. So the best way for me to describe that is like in a negative photograph, you see the opposite of the actual subject. So it's kind of similar to that. That's the easiest way for me to describe those. The second part of the lab was the differential stains, which had to do with the gram staining technique, and that required a process of actually 4 of the stains, including the crystal violet one, of course, so that was the first one. So that's this one. So we first take the 3 cultured broths that we have, we smear those onto the slides, and we do the gram staining technique on all 3 of them and just view the different cells and microorganisms within each of those different cultures. So the way that works is you first do it with the first one is the crystal violet. Put this directly onto the smear and then give it a couple of seconds, about a minute I think it was, and then you rinse it. Then you take the next one, which is the PVP iodine. Same thing, you give it a couple minutes after you put this one, rinse this one. And then you take this one, the decolorizer, which when I put this one, it felt like it was taking off the rest of the other stains, like a wash almost completely. But surprisingly enough, you're actually still able to see the cells and organisms under the microscope. And then the last one is this one, the safranin, which is more of a red kind of stain. And actually the difference between all these is, well, actually these are the 2 main differences. This one's gonna, no, not this one, sorry. Crystal violet. The crystal violet is going to pick up on the cells, so it's going to get all these little tiny structures. This red one, the safranin, this one actually, and then this one actually stains the, which one was it? The gram-positive ones. This one stains the gram-negative ones. And so these ones will stain pinkish, whereas these ones will stain more violet. And so at the end of the lab, I think the best slide that I had that showed most of the structures was the E. coli. I just saw more vibrant colors. I think it looks like I can see the 2 different structures, the crystal violet and the safranin. And so that was my observations there. But all 3 of them are really interesting, and I think I was able to see different cells and organisms, and that was really cool to see. If I had more time, I probably would have done more, but and if I had more slides also, I would have done more. So maybe something I'll be doing in the future since I have the equipment now. So anyway, that's my video, and that's what I took from this week's lab. Thank you very much.